Welcome to another edition to Leader of You, Leading Beyond Limits. Awaken, you matter. This summit is about one thing. It's you. It's about recognizing that you matter and awakening to the truth that you have the power to lead your life, break through your limitations, and create the future you've always wanted. Over the course of this event, we're going to deep dive into the beliefs, habits, and actions that shape your life, both consciously and unconsciously. Many of us are held back by limited beliefs that we don't even know exist. Beliefs that were formed in childhood that drive our decisions, our actions, and ultimately our outcomes. This summit is designed to help you to awaken to these hidden forces and break free from them and align your actions with the person you're truly meant to be. And today I have a wonderful opportunity to talk to one of my favorite people I just met. And we hit it off from the get-go. And the leaders, when they find another leader that aligns in their mission, it really didn't take that long of a time to meet and say, let's get down the road and let's start making an impact. So I would love to introduce Trish Lynn. Hello, Trish.
Hi.
And she actually has come from a lot of adversity in her life. She's had some trauma. She was in a marriage that was toxic. And she was to a point where a lot of us get to is just broken. And then there's a decision to make at that point to whether you are going to live in a victim or live in victory. And Trish is one of those women that is very inspiring, that decided she was going to make a difference and lead her life the way she saw it to be fit. She lives in her vision now. She's breaking barriers and she has audacious dreams coming up for 2025. She's also the host of the Trish Lynn podcast. Sorry about that. A platform dedicated to empowering women to break free from unhealthy relationships and to discover their true potential. Trish has courageously shared her own journey of overcoming toxic relationship, and now she dedicates her work to helping other women not only heal, but also to thrive and helping them build businesses. Trish's mission extends beyond personal transformation. She's also a mentor to women looking to grow their business, step into their power. And your story relates to hope and inspiration and determination. And she's a beautiful example of how you can overcome adversity and rise stronger than ever. Trish, thank you again for coming. And I would love for you to tell a little bit about your story, about where you came from and how you've overcame, because really that's the good stuff. And to show
Yes,
people that we can come from nothing and
we can
become
come
something.
from nothing. Thank you so much for having me. I'm so happy and honored to be able to share a little bit of my story in hopes that it reaches whoever it needs to reach and inspires whoever it can inspire. Um, I was in a 16-year toxic relationship with
Mm.
a man who has narcissistic traits. Along my journey, I've learned that a narcissist is a diagnosed condition. So I don't get to call him a narcissist, but he has narcissistic traits. So we lead with that and calling it a toxic relationship because that's what it is when you are belittled and put down and just have nothing left. Over the course of the 16 years, there was a really big transition from everything being in my name. You know, I was the one who was working everything to everything was in his name. And I was a stay-at-home mom. And in that, things progressively got worse and worse and worse. And then one day, the summer before I left was just a summer from hell. And that's the best way to put it. I was mumbling under my breath almost every day, I hate you. Like, it was just, that's where I was at. And then one night, there was an argument. He was drinking quite a bit. He told me to do him and the kids a favor and kill myself. And that just flipped the switch. I was done.
Mm.
And a single mom of three, no income. I didn't have a job. I was a stay-at-home mom, but I had my business. My business was not succeeding because of the toxicity in that relationship. Hence why I do a lot of the work that I do now. And I decided I was done. My life was not thriving in that environment. I was not thriving. I was right down to, you know when you feel dull, you wake up, you're unfulfilled, you feel just blah, like you have no life in your even your skin, like just nothing left. That's where I was at.
Yeah,
And
your light has been smothered. You're not shining in any way.
yeah,
You're pressed.
yeah. So I took every ounce of strength I had with that decision, and I turned my life around. I knew it started with me, making the decisions that I needed to make for myself and for my kids.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. If it's to be, it's up to me. I mean, seriously, it comes down to it. So, the world's not really out there to help you. We'd love to change that and get more impactful ways. But the fact is, it's got to be you to make the choice and have to change. And I mean, I've been around a lot of relationships and I've seen a lot of that. And it's very discouraging because it just steals you of your life, your self
Yeah,
worth. It impacts your kids. Your kids witness this and they think that's the model way it's supposed to be. They don't need different. And so
yeah,
it impacts them and it becomes a generational thing. So it's one of the things that when we talked earlier before when I met you is like, I am so for someone's coming out of that relationship and rebuilding, not against divorce, but when it gets to that level,
yeah.
come out.
And I stayed for a lot longer than, ideally I would have liked to. But one, I had to rebuild my confidence in myself, and I had to have that courage to leave. So a lot of personal development leading into actually making that decision to leave. And I was against divorce. I didn't want to be the person who broke up my family in my um what's the word? Generational. It was divorce. So I didn't want to follow that for my kids, knowing that I had been through it. And I can tell you it's the best decision I ever made. It's hard because narcissists, their traits are so behind closed doors. Everything that people see, from the outside looking in, we looked like the perfect family. We had it all. We were happy, this and that. The kids had everything they could want, but on the inside, it was hell. And that's a big piece that a lot of women really do feel alone. I felt alone because a lot of people didn't understand what I was going through because he had a good job. He made a lot of money. I didn't have to work. I should be happy I don't have to work.
Not authentic. And it's all about them and it's all your fault.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been around it. I've seen it. My own family, my close family, is going through some of that right now. So I mean, I'm very close to it, intimate to what's going on, and I can see the impact in the kids. And the fact that they now have a mother that is full of life and inspiration and guidance, they get a better quality of a relationship with their parent than they did
Yeah.
before. They get you, the real you.
Yeah.
So again, I'm not against divorce, but there comes a time where it's damaging and
Yeah.
it's damaging for generations, and that is not ever a good thing. And
No.
so the interrupt was you leaving, and it had to be. And I applaud you for where you've come from and where you've been, because I know myself building self worth back up, coming from where I was laying dead on the bed and feeling like I failed across decades of work, and I didn't feel like I was worth anything. To rebuild, to have that self worth is not easy, and so I'd like to celebrate you for that alone. Just
Thank
just, just on that part, if we can get people out of that and build their self worth back up, then life starts becoming livable again, enjoyable and fulfilling. So, you know,
And
really,
it starts
congrats.
with you making that decision, right? It's the decision started long before I ever left of, okay, I've got to start working on me, looking at me. What is it that I am thinking? How am I feeling? And in these times, in these experiences, how am I feeling and how can I shift that? Because it's really hard when you're in it to see greater than or to see outside of what is going on. But the only way to see yourself outside of it is to start looking.
Right. And we need to find people that can help coach us, mentor us, have gone to where we want to go when we realize that we have clarity about what our life means and our purpose, and to help find our blind spots. And then also that same token, we all have limiting beliefs, every one of us. And then we need to find out what that is and find out what's supporting us and what's not supporting us in those beliefs and start weeding out the ones that aren't and replacing those that are on support us and getting us to where we want to go intentionally. And yeah, so you've done a great job at that. And I know at this point, you've had some business struggles, like you said. There's been failure along the way. We all experience that. That doesn't define us by any means. But you found your calling. Why don't you tell us what today's version of Trish Lynn is helping empower other women? And this is because I want everybody to hear this, and really because this could be any of you in the audience right now that needs this, and it could be you that can make this transformation. So tell us, how are you empowering these women and from these bad relationships and transforming them?
It really starts with I see people at a very deep level, and in everyone, I can see what their potential is. So with my clients, it's allowing, they allow me to ask the questions that pull out those answers and work on those things that they really don't want to look at. But hey, I'm going to call you out on it. So we're going to look at it and empowering them to see the potential that I see within them and to take that action, holding, I don't want to say holding your hand, but holding your hand through it, because we need that support. We're not meant to go at this alone. We are meant to have support and guidance along the way. That is why we are all at different levels. We've all been through things, and we've reached people who are, maybe going through what we've just gone through, so that we can guide them through it so they don't have to struggle. And that's what it's all about. I left December 1st will be 2 years since I left. Have since I moved when I first left, and October 1st, I moved to this house, and I moved from my surviving home to my thriving home. When you decide that life gets to work for you and you stop looking for the excuses as to why it can't work for you, everything shifts and everything starts to move. So my job is to not only help you with your business, because, if you're anything like me, going to work a 9 to 5 isn't an option. I have 3 kids.
No.
I have to be able to work their schedule. I'm doing it on my own. I don't want to be financially capped at someone else's idea of what my time is worth. 2, I need the flexibility. If the kids are sick, I'm here. I drive my kids to school. So the weeks that I have them, I have a very short work window period during that week, and I get to do that. It's creating that freedom and flexibility with your business, but then we get to look at all of the other pieces, because so many people think that, business is strategy, strategy, strategy. It is so much more than that. It is energy, and it is mindset.
It's a way of being. There's not a way of doing. And that's where a lot of us get stuck. And I love what you just said. I get to, because words are important, words that we use. We speak life or death. It's not that I have to, like it's a burden. I get to, and I choose to get to. So that's very important. That shows your level of self-development and understanding and incorporating those words, and also getting to meet people where they're at, and also not being a friend, but walking through struggles. We can't do it for you. You have to do it yourself, but we certainly can stand for you. And walk through it. So that alone, and I'm gonna, you're preaching to the choir, because I definitely say you cannot do this alone. You're not meant to. And if you do, you don't end up like me, lying in the bed dead for decades of trying. And there's no reason in it, and there's no joy in it. So, men, I'm gonna talk to you for a second. Lay your pride down. Get vulnerable. Understand that you can go places that you've never been before with a team, as long as you allow yourself to become vulnerable and authentic with somebody. In fact, multi-millionaires will heed the advice of a coach a lot faster than somebody making 100, 200K a year, because they know they can't do it themselves, and they're willing to lay down to get to where they need to go, and to where we will not, because we all have to think we're right, and this is the way it needs to be, and it's not. So well said, Trish. I just want to call that out for you and say that, because that's the level of type of coaching you got to understand. And that's living and thriving and not surviving mentality right there. That's a very good mindset.
Yeah. Well, we're not victims, right? And that's the biggest piece. We are not a victim. We get to choose our reality. And the sooner we can wake up to that, the sooner we can start to see the change. Even, when I was, so for me, this was two-part, and I finally had to say something. But when I was in the relationship, I was considered the victim because of how I was being treated. And like, yeah, but I'm choosing to stay and be treated this way. So really, I'm not the victim because I'm still choosing this. I haven't chose differently yet. And then I chose differently, and it was, well, I'm the victim because this is what I've been through, and this is what I've been through, and this is what I'm still going through, and this is how he's treating me. So I finally said, like, look, he is who he is, and I'm making my decisions. I am not a victim in this situation anymore. I chose not to be. So please stop portraying me to everyone as a victim because I'm not.
I mean, if you look at it like this, it's an event. There's an event that's going on, but it's the perspective of the way you look at the event colors the picture of how you're reacting or proacting to it and choosing to be or not to be in
Yeah.
that situation. So again, yeah, let's leave the stories in the storybook because
Yeah.
today is today, and this is what we have to work with is today. So what
Yeah.
are we going to be today?
That's it. And I can actually honestly say my ex and I now have a better relationship than we did when we were together because I create my own narrative. He wants to start being himself, like he hasn't changed at all. I can 100% say that. The kids will tell me things and I just laugh, but I'm like, well, that's his story. I don't have to move forward with that. And if he wants to, bring those into our conversations, I don't listen. I don't respond because I get that choice. And our relationship and our dynamic works now, and it works for the kids. So it's
Even
in
more important.
whatever, yeah, it's in whatever you are choosing. I could choose to go down that rabbit hole and follow past patterns, past behaviors and conversations. I don't need to. I don't want to because my life isn't going backwards. My life is going forwards, and it's going forwards in a way that a lot of people can't comprehend. So I'm not going to limit myself to their perception of what is possible. I'm not going to fall back into those old patterns that are going to limit who I am. I'm going to block it out, and I'm going to keep moving forward.
So the women that come to you now, they're coming from all walks of life, and then but we're all learning for transformation, and finding coaching as well. It's you're taking away the world grooms you in a way of doing this, and taking them into a world of being like they've never been before. And that's a huge transition. It's a huge shift, and it's not something that just happens overnight, does it, Trish?
It's
Takes a
not.
yeah.
And I love, like, the women I work with, they come to me ready to work. They're not living in their past because they know that doesn't define them. But there's still pieces, a lot of my coaching calls are conversations
Mm-hmm.
because it's in those conversations and in their words that I can say, wait a second, this is how you're thinking. Let's shift that, right? It's not, um, it's like such simple things sometimes that we get to make that shift on. And I love that they are already empowered and ready to take action and ready to move, so we're not living in the past. We don't have to try and get over that hurdle. And I've set it up that way because I can't bring you,
Mm-hmm.
I
Exactly.
can't make you decide. I can't make you decide, okay, I'm ready to go. You have to decide that. And the second you decide that, I'm here to help you skyrocket.
That is the key, and that you have to be ready for it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm listening and hearing is these women have made a choice already, and that's when we get to do the real work, and that's when it becomes fun, it becomes inspiring, it becomes enjoyable, and we start realizing our true purpose, and that's a wonderful point to be. And so I'm finding it the same with men too. It's a little bit different, but it becomes a point when they've had enough.
Yeah.
They've come to a point like me. They beat their head up against the wall for so long. Something has to change.
Yeah.
And it's the ones that really want to make a difference in their leadership that they show up. And I think that's a best place that we could ever get the work done and get it effectively done for a lifetime change, not just
And
a
like,
patch.
that's it for me. It's, I'm building a lot of connections. I'm bringing a lot of awareness to the fact that that toxic relationship is the reason why you're not seeing the results in your business. It's not your
Yes.
strategy, because so many women, I was the same. And so I say this from experience. I was chasing strategy after strategy after strategy. It was not the strategy that was the problem. My nervous system didn't have the capacity to compartmentalize that toxic relationship and walking on eggshells and protecting my energy from that and take on the clients. And then, we can talk into the authenticity piece of women who have been in toxic relationships don't say what they want to say in their content out of fear of repercussions, out of fear of, what will they think? Who am I to say this? You walk on eggshells in your content because you're so used to walking on eggshells in your life and you don't recognize it. So for me, it's bringing awareness to these pieces because it's not something that's talked about here in the online space. I've never seen it talked about. And I've met so many women who have said, you're onto something because no one talks about this. So I'm building the connections with women who have been in these toxic relationships, and I hold them all close to my heart. And whether they work with me or not, I'm sitting here waiting because I know at some point it's gonna be that aha moment, and they're gonna come into my membership and work with me.
I mean, that's being authentic, and it's being boldly authentic. And that's the only way really for me to be authentic. We talked about that yesterday. And so, I mean, you're finding the people who are hurting out there, the women that are hurting. And because you're up here now, you've released all that negative energy out of your life. It's gone. It's neutral. Now that you can be you and speak to it without having the fear, like you said, in the eggshells in it and compromising yourself in that relationship. Now you can speak with truth.
Yeah.
And not worry about that. And that's empowering. That itself is totally empowering. And it's the same, we were talking about authenticity yesterday about that. And women are really looking for that in men.
Yeah.
And I'd love to, if we could steer that conversation a little bit, because, there is fear that if a man that's not tied to his emotion, doesn't know how to relate to his emotions, release his emotions, or even know how to be authentic, can be very dangerous.
Yeah.
And that's one thing I definitely I'm feeling the calling on to talk to, as you well know, about being authentic and being able to be vulnerable on that. But we talked about it from men's leadership, but I'd love to hear about from a woman. What is a woman looking? What is an authentic man? What is it that you would love to find to build a relationship with?
So funny that we can have this conversation as I'm getting back out there and starting to date again. And I can tell you, it's hard. It is such a hard space to be because men, it's the generation of men who have cut off their emotions. They feel like they can't have any, or if they do, their mindset is so limited to now, and it's not a growth mindset. So for me, there's a lot of pieces that I look for, but one, the vulnerability. We talked about the 4 pillars yesterday of authenticity, and vulnerability is a big one. Being
Yeah.
able to go deep and have those conversations. I am not a surface level human. I go like anyone that I work with, anyone I talk to, they know I go deep, and I go deep quick because I'm not here for surface level. I'm here for the deep things. I want to know what makes you tick. I want to know all of the things that happen to you. Like, I want to know it all because then I can understand you at a deeper level. And it's that
Mm-hmm.
emotional connection. And a lot of men, and I'm going to say this from a perspective now of what I'm witnessing as I've started dating, are so surface level that they don't allow themselves to go into that deeper connection, that vulnerability, because I mean, I was the same way. There's a fear of getting hurt. Men are experiencing that just as much as women are. But I think that's why we have and I've witnessed this as well, such a toxic society of men at the moment,
Mm-hmm.
because men are not willing to look at the deeper aspects of life. Online dating is a joke. It's literally like, oh, you're good looking? Nope. You're good looking? Nope. And that's what you're basing it off of, as looks. And for me, I'm like, that's so surface level. Yes, you have to be physically attracted to someone, 100%. But that, like, that's usually where it stops. And for me, it's, well, what's underneath that? Because if we can't hold a conversation, I wake up at 6 o'clock in the morning and have a coffee. And if we can't hold, my best friend, him and I would have coffee at 6:30 in the morning and have the deepest conversations before I've even brushed my teeth and got ready for the day.
Yeah, talking about real life and real things, your future, your
But you can't
dreams.
even, yeah. And for me, it's not, it's being able to talk about everything. You want to talk politics and have a discussion about it because we have opposing opinions? Let's have that conversation because you can actually have a conversation. And if you can't have a conversation, I don't want a part of it because I like to have conversations about anything and everything. And if I'm wrong, I want to know your perspective and why I'm wrong.
Right. So the need for us to be right has been something that's been ongoing for a long time. Because if we're not right, then we're wrong. If we're wrong, that brings shame or whatever emotion that pulls up. But once we get to the point, well, I don't have to be right. I want to talk to you because I want your perspective. And this one thing that I find valuable with you, Trish. I can talk to you pretty much about anything. I feel comfortable with that. And it's okay for me to be wrong. 'Cause I don't want to have to be right or feel like I have to be right. I want to
And
feel like I would like to understand more. I'm curious. And I want to get to know people for what they are. And, if we don't like each other, that's okay.
yeah,
If we like each other, that's okay. And,
yeah.
and the thing with that, we're not, this might make it easier for everybody maybe to understand. And this is a little nugget. So if you apply force, for example, okay, so I'm going to apply force from my perspective that I'm thinking I'm right. All right. Applying a force means there's also an opposite and equal force by Newton's law. All right.
Mhm.
So we're going to create resistance by just standing on the point that I'm creating that force. But what if I didn't come into a relationship and didn't apply that force? What if I just come into it neutrally and let's say, well, what's on your mind? What do you think about this? So I'm no longer taking a stance and I'm not applying the force. I'm just neutral. You got
Yeah.
something to say about it. I agree, disagree. Well, there's no resistance from that.
Yeah. That's
It's
it.
that
And
easy.
it's been, I come in neutral, and I know I come in neutral. And you said you and I can have a conversation about everything, and I think energetically I've gotten myself to that point where I am very neutral to everything, because that's not the first time I've heard that. I've been told by so many people that I'm just easy to talk to, and there's a connection, and conversation flows because I don't want that force and that resistance. I am here to learn and grow. And without an open conversation, you can't learn and grow. And I find so many men are still so closed off to that aspect.
Well, it's just men. Men, what do you value? And I'm not talking about surface level values that you find that you really want, but what is your core value mean is what did you come with? Well, when you were a child, what was it that you valued the most? And it was maybe having fun, maybe it was being creative, maybe it was being adventurous, maybe it was helping other people, maybe it was just laughing and having joy. What is it? And
And
we don't know.
I'm gonna go back and correct myself there, because it's not just men. And in getting back out dating, I've learned it's a lot of women too. So I'm gonna correct myself there. There are a lot more women who have opened up to
I
this
find that to saying a
this
lot
growth.
faster. Mhm.
Yes. So I will correct myself there for the men listening in. I'm not just picking on you. It does go both ways.
Well, see, I'm not offended by that. That's what I'm getting at. Okay. But the thing is, who are we?
Yeah.
All right. And until we know who we are deep at a deep level, we are always going to be surface level and we're not going to live a life that we were meant to live. And that's just simple as that. And that does go for everybody. And knowing your values is a critical part of living because now you can align yourself with the things that you value in life and that have meaning, deep meaning on
And
it.
what you want for your life.
Exactly. See, that's the whole key. What is it? How many times do you get asked, what do you want? And there's been a long time before I got to say, well, you mean me? I get to say what I want. Well, we do. We can proclaim what we want.
Yeah.
We were meant to be like that, and we were meant to. We were designed for a purpose, and when you find that and you declare what you want, go after it. have fun doing it. Enjoy the journey. But you don't have to be emotionally connected. You got to know you.
Yeah.
And then once you know you, then you and I can have a very vulnerable conversation
Yeah.
on it. And I'm loving this. I'm loving this point. You know, I'm right at 60 years old now. I get to live life.
Yeah. Yeah. And you remove once you so and this is for the women who have been in the toxic relationships, because we can really bring it back to this. Once you know who you are, you know what you bring to the table. So there is that whole, and that's what I love pulling out of women. I had a client, and she was running four businesses. We were working on the fourth one.
Wow.
And yeah, and she's like, but I've had this and this. I'm like, pause, pause. You are running four effing businesses. I do swear a lot. I'm being very good right now. um,
I appreciate it.
and and look at you. You're doing it. So
Mhm.
take a moment to respect the fact that, yes, this one's not doing as good as you would like it to be doing, but your other three are doing exactly what they need to do, and you're doing it by yourself. And one of those jobs, in one of those businesses, is very physical. And once you recognize your strengths, everything that you've put into your life and what you are building, what you are creating, your self-worth, your self-confidence, everything increases. And it's, well, I know what I bring to the table. You're not matching me, so you're not sitting at my table. And you don't worry about being by yourself. That's the biggest fear for women who have been in toxic relationships, is they're going to be by
Mm.
themselves.
All right.
I love being by myself, because I would rather be by myself than in a lower vibrational energy of someone who is just surface level and you can't have a conversation with.
Oh yeah, that's a whole nother podcast right there that we can do, Trish.
Yeah.
Now, vibrational energy. I mean, you know, first and foremost, we are energy in
Yeah.
spirit, and then we have vibration and we have frequency. So if you look at the universe, like um, Nikola Tesla said, then you can start understanding how this universe and God operates actually in us. So, but like I say, that's a whole nother conversation.
Yeah, it's a
Self
whole
healing.
conversation. Yeah.
Yeah, that self healing comes from that. I mean, we could go for another hour or so for that. But coming back to this, I know we're
Yeah.
starting to run close to run out of time. Um, you know that the fact that we get to choose who we get to be is liberating in itself.
Yeah.
But we need tools to
Yeah.
get there. That's not so leadership. If I can say this, leadership is not only a way of being in the leading of yourself, but leadership also requires tools. So if I was a carpenter per se, I know what a hammer, saw, drill, specialty, bandsaws, all those type of things. Okay, so I know what the tools are. I also know how to operate those tools. Okay, and I know how to operate them professionally. But we're not given the tools for one in
No.
this society because the society is designed not for you to lead but to follow. And secondly, you've got the tools. How you don't use them?
I'm gonna laugh. I have a little story to throw in here. So when
Do
I
it.
moved into this, I'm gonna cry. I'm like internally laughing. When I moved into this house, I was getting all my stuff up, and my son's like, "Where's your drill, or where's your impact?" I'm like, "I don't know. The drill's upstairs." He's like, "That's an impact." I'm like, "No, it's my drill." "No, that's an impact." I'm like, "Well, you know what? My drill has done a lot of stuff in the last week by myself." So we were just laughing because I had the tools. I didn't know what they were called, but I knew how to use them.
But you didn't know how to use it. But okay, so you know the functionality of it. So you may not know the label of it,
Yeah.
but you know the functionality, and that's really the point. Is okay. Do you know how to apply the tools of leadership? All right. And the thing is, leadership is also fellowship, and leadership is about leading and also following.
Yeah.
So you're going to have to follow somebody and before you can lead. And I can tell you this, you need to learn to be last before you can become first.
We're always students and we're always learning. And that's the one thing, I'm always a student first. I'm always getting myself into circles with women that I can learn from, because from that, the more I open up, the more authentic I am in sharing my story. the more I get to inspire other women to come this direction and, see. So for me, it's uh just learning and learning and learning and opening up and, checking in with myself. It's such a level of self-awareness, being a leader and taking things to that next level. It really comes down to mindset and self-awareness and, internal, where am I at? What do I need? How can I support myself? Because you have to support yourself first before you can support others.
Absolutely. I mean, John Maxwell said it best. The hardest work I'll ever do is on myself.
Yeah.
And if I stop doing the work on myself, I'm at the point I can no longer serve
Yeah.
on it. And so it's a journey. All of us are going through a journey. None of us is perfect, but I'm committed to growth, and I know you as well. And we believe in serving and helping other people, lifting up out of the mud and giving them a way of being to succeed in their life. The more we liberate like this, the better this world's going to be. And I really love to see my grandchildren go through this world with some hope. And I'm not too happy with what our generation and Generation 4 is creating on it. But, there's a great song by Phil Collins, Land of Confusion. I don't know if anybody's listened to it. I know my generation has, but my generation will set it right is in that song, recognizing that we started this mess, this chaos.
Yeah.
We have a choice to change it. And
Yeah.
that's why we're here. That's
And
why I'm here.
every day we get to be the change that we want to see. And it comes back to that being, because doing isn't going to create the change. Being the change, sharing our light, sharing our message, going bigger to create that change is how we're going to see the change for our future generations.
Absolutely. Trish, what would be a great way for people to contact you? I know it's not you're in Canada, and it doesn't have to be in Canada. It'd be the United States. It'd be all over the world for that matter. But I know you have the podcast, the Trish Lynn Show. So it's on Instagram, everybody. Please hook up with that. Listen to her. I'm on there, and there's a lot of great speakers that she's had, and there's going to be more coming. But
Yeah.
how else can they get in touch with you?
So the Trish Lynn on Instagram, the Trish Lynn Show on Instagram, or Trish Lynn on Facebook. I'm Trish Lynn on LinkedIn as well now, learning a new platform. Basically Trish Lynn across the board. You'll find a picture of my face.
Very easy.
Yeah.
And is there anything that you'd like to share with the audience? I mean, other than going to the podcast, is there anything else you'd like to share with them before we go? Any last words or anything like that?
For anyone who is listening in, if you are in or have been in a toxic relationship, you are worth everything that you desire and everything that you want to create. And if you are feeling stuck, or if you're feeling like you can't see the way, you're not sure where to go, or if you're just not feeling seen and heard, connect with me. I do actually have a support group on Facebook with women who have been in toxic relationships, a place for you to be seen and heard, and just it's a safe space to come and share. And that's what it's been created for, because no one should be doing this alone. And you don't have to work with me. That's not what this is. It is a community of women who get it.
This is a free giving gift that from your heart to help others that have been in your situation, and it's a safe place to be able to go, and everything's contained in it. It's confidential and everything. So,
Yeah.
that's a beautiful gift to give to people like that. And I know how much that means. I mean, like I said, I had some close family and I think I'll probably point them in that direction to
It's an
join
amazing
in.
community. I am there, not as often as I would like, but if you have something that you want to share and you tag me, I'm there. And that's it. It's the safe space. There's no judgment, because I don't judge. I'm a very open person, and I've been through a lot more than I will share, online still, but behind those closed doors, I'll share with you my whole life story.
Amen. Amen. All right. Well, everybody, we're going to close for the day. And I really appreciate the audience that's listening to this. Not only this, there's some great business information. There's some healing ways of being. There's coaching and mentoring. I mean, there's all sorts of nuggets through this. So I encourage you. I know everybody's schedules vary and you don't catch it at the time this airs, but upgrade to the VIP. It's $29. It's not a lot. and it's worth something to put into your library to listen over and over again and listen to at your convenience. And then I'm launching the Value of Values course starting at the beginning of the year, where I'm going to teach how to be authentic in your life, and open a course where we can go for 4 weeks, and then also mentor in being authentic. And it's simply a mission. It's what it is. And to transform, be a source of transformation in not only your life, your family, but in this world, make it a brighter place. So we love you and thank you for coming. And I think Trish and I will probably have some more episodes down the road on some different things. I just enjoyed talking to her. And I get so, I mean, really, I get so much value out of this. It fulfills me to be able to speak to you like this. And that's a rare thing in these days. And I like to make it a common thing for people to be able to come this way and have these type of conversations. So God bless you, Trish. Thank you again. And everybody, thank you for joining us at the Leader Review. And we'll catch you next time. Have a great day. God bless.